Jefferson County is the highest crash county in the state. The reason for that is the on and off ramps.
Yep.
That is where the majority of the crashes occur. People coming up those on and off ramps too fast, turning vehicles over, getting run off the road. Those are other things that happen on those ramps. So safety is the biggest thing. This morning, when you all got up, what was your goal?
Get to work.
Make it back home.
To make it back home what?
Safe.
Alive.
Safe, right? That's our goal. We have things throughout our day that take up our time, right? We have things throughout our day that make us busy. Stress makes us to where we feel like we're behind the gun, right? You're already late. We have things throughout the day that can really push the envelope of that safety. But if you keep in mind what the important part of your life is, safety, the family that you're going home to, that will help drive you to a safer day. Our goal with Kentucky State Police is to ensure that the roadways are as safe as possible. We do that through a multitude of ways. One is what we're doing today, education, right? Talk about and answer any questions. The other one is enforcement. Unfortunately, that's a part of it. We try to keep those roadways safe, and enforcement is one of those that we go through to find. The way we do that is through the laws, state laws and federal laws. How many of you have a reg book? Federal Motor Carrier Reg Book, the green book? Have you tried to read it? Read the whole thing? You must have been bored. Okay, well, how easy was it to read?
It depends on the parts of it.
Chapters?
Yeah.
Okay, some of it was pretty easy, right? Some of it was like, wait a minute, you gotta have a PhD to kind of discern through that, right? So there are a lot of laws, a lot of regulations that are dealt with when you get into the federal regs. But that's how we come out and try to keep the roads as safe as possible. So how many of you have been stopped? Good or bad?
Both.
Okay, I like the bads. Give me some bads. Go ahead, Orange Shirt.
Tab was pulled up just a little bit on my fire extinguisher. Not all the way.
That's
up
what
front.
got you stopped?
No, that's
Oh,
not what
okay.
got me stopped. That's what
Okay.
got me a ticket for a ram.
Oh, yeah.
Like the tab was up just a little bit, like the fire extinguisher wasn't loose, it was still lashed, but the tab was just up a little bit.
Talking about the, securement tab?
Yeah, like it wasn't all the way up, just a little bit. I got a ticket for an unsecure fire.
You got a citation or you got an inspection?
No, I got the ticket for it.
Really?
You must make them out.
Who else? Go ahead.
I'm busted a safety valve, didn't know it.
Okay.
And was 24,000 pounds of rubber around.
But it's because of the air.
Yes.
Yeah, air issues.
But they shut me down and it was,
Yep.
Katrina, what was that, 2 days almost?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
28 hours.
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
don't have, because they had to redo the entire air system.
That happens, unfortunately. Who else? Anybody else? Go ahead.
Speeding in the, construction zone, but everybody
You did
was
it
doing
right, didn't you?
But you was the lead of the pack.
He wins.
Yep, we win.
Yeah, I have to give you that, you're the winner on that. So, yeah, so even though everybody was doing the same, and we get that a lot, we really do. We get the point of, man, I was just going with the flow of
Hey,
traffic.
Feb, that's what I said.
The problem is, the flow of traffic is 4,000 pounds versus your,
Right.
80,000.
right. So from a standpoint of just traveling, all right, at 70 miles per hour, because the speed limiter is a big hot topic right now across federal motor carriers. 70 miles an hour is what we would like to see as commercial enforcement, just because number one, that's the typical speed on most interstates. So I am begging at least make it the minimum speed. Make it at least that. But here's the problem. At 70 miles per hour, you're traveling 102 feet per second. And in a car, it takes you 490.7 feet to get stopped. That's in a car. Remember what you're traveling in. For you to get stopped at 70 is 3 times that. Okay? So there are catch-22s. Going lower on the speed causes a traffic jam. Getting higher in the speed gives those abilities to really step out there to where when you get into stopping and braking distance, there's a lot of things that play in the factor. So speeding is a big one. The biggest thing I want you to know is if you're stopped, it may not necessarily mean that you've done anything wrong. Because when you're stopped, the first thing that goes through your mind is what? Come on.
What did I just do?
What did I do, right? Right, what have I done? Now, they'll tell you pretty quick, okay? At least our guys will. They'll come up, how are you today? The reason I stopped you is whatever. If there was no reason, how you doing today, sir? You haven't done anything wrong, just letting you know we're gonna do a safety inspection. We're gonna check your whatever, paperwork, we're gonna check your truck. You know, hey, I'm doing full level ones today. Whatever it may be, they're gonna let you know that. The guys in Kentucky, we have to do inspections. All right, we're mandated by federal motor carriers to do these inspections. That's how Kentucky keeps its road dollars. If you've ever been to a state to where the road fund is controlled like Kentucky's, you can tell what their enforcement game is like by the roadways. Arkansas, how's their roads? Horrible. Oklahoma. Oklahoma's great. Oklahoma has a large commercial enforcement division. Arkansas, however, does not. Theirs is very minimal, all right? So we have to do inspections. That doesn't mean that you're gonna get a violation. That doesn't mean that you're gonna get a citation. We just have to generate those safety inspections, all right? So if you're stopped again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've done anything wrong. The first thing we want you to do is stay in the truck unless you're at an installation. Of course, if you're a scale installation, do what those signs say, please. If they tell you to grab all paperwork and go inside, please do that. If it's roadside, definitely stay in the car or the truck. This is passenger car or truck wise on this part. Stay in the vehicle. Because the problem, old school, was get out, come back, meet the officer at the car, right? Yeah, well, while you're walking back, what are you reaching for?
License.
License, right? Your wallet. Well, where's your wallet at? Well, where anything could be. Not necessarily a gun, it could be anything, right? But the biggest danger that we face is the unknown. Okay, we don't know what's happening. So that's the biggest danger for us. Another thing, when you guys stop on the road and you're on that shoulder, do people get over for you? No, they don't. They don't get over for us. How many of you have been on a traffic stop and cars or trucks are still zipping by? Yeah. So if I've got you in the truck, I know you're safe. All right, I know you're there, you're not going anywhere. I don't have to worry about you trying to play Frogger on the interstate, right? So I know you're safe. Plus, look at the weather outside. What's Kentucky weather like? Bipolar, isn't it? Yeah, bipolar. You don't know what you're running into. So you're safe and you're comfortable. That's where we want to keep you. So what are you going to have? Well, you're going to have that CDL, right? What about, anybody have any restrictions on your CDLs? What have you got?
Automatic.
Automatic only, okay, anybody else? Where's my glasses wearers? There they are. Anybody hearing aids? No? Okay. So there are a multitude, there are a multitude of restrictions when it comes to licensing, okay? So just ensure that if you have that, make sure that you are covering that. What about your medical cards? Are you required to keep your medical cards with you?
Well, it used to be, I heard you don't have to anymore. I heard it's in right into your data system once it's.
It is. So, first thing I ask is, what's your company policy, ladies?
I would prefer they have it with them.
Okay, then that's all needs to be said. Federal motor carriers, once you've uploaded that to the MyCDL portal, they recommend 14 days because it does allow that to get on your driver's license and into the SIDLA system to where we can now check it roadside. All right, so that one would be the only one. Do your due diligence. Please, 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 I reiterate this. Make sure you are checking those medical cards when those physicians give those to you. How many of you wear reading glasses? If you go into your medical with reading glasses on, guess what your medical card is gonna say?
Restriction.
Glasses, corrective lenses required, okay? So be cautious, check what restrictions are on that card to ensure that they're not nailing you on something that you don't need, okay? Please be mindful of that, and also be mindful of the duration of your cards. sure that they're not giving you a 6-month card instead of a 2-year or 1 year. The shortest I have seen was a 2-week card. That's the shortest card that I have seen so far in my 21 years. Alright, so be cautious with that. You'll have to have that truck registration. Now, do you all have a location where you keep all of your documents?
Yes.
Where are they at?
In the binder and the truck.
Binder in the truck, right? Is that readily accessible to you?
Yes.
Good. When was the last time you looked in it?
This morning.
This morning, last week? Good. Good, good, good. Make sure that you do check those, make sure that they're purged from old documents, because that is the one thing that I will say will extend your time on the roadside. Alright, when you're sitting there and you start going through those documents, and you're going, well, there's 22, 21, 17, 15, and we're going, where's it? So I'm like, alright, good deal, let me get the plate number. So I go up and write the plate number, I write down the last 6 of your VIN, and I go back. While I'm now having to go through each multiple system to verify that all of your documents that should be there are up to date, here you come back with what? The manila envelope, because you found your 23 packet that you put back in the bunk somewhere, right? That's the reality of it. So make sure that you do go through those documents and ensure that they're up to date, please. That will expedite those stops, but also insurance. Make sure that you have the freight insurance and it's up to date as well. Your annual inspections, your fuel tax, if it's IFTA or if it's KIT, either one, ensure that they are there. How many of you run a permit?
Sometimes.
Any permit holders? Just one?
Gary?
Yes.
How many of you haul pieces of equipment that puts you over 80,000 pounds? Let me ask it that way.
Sometimes.
There we go.
Leather home.
Do you have your permits handy?
Yes.
Okay, all right, y'all kind of making me a little nervous there for a second. I've checked it and I know they're there, so, okay, all right. Make sure that you have those readily accessible as well. Now, we do have ways of locating those and I'll show you what we have. What about your electronic logs? Where do you keep those?
On my
On my
dash.
phone.
On your phones? Where are your phones mounted?
On the dash.
In the
On the
hole.
dash, okay. Where you can see, huh?
In the cradle.
In the cradle, where you can see it while in the driver's seat, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely, right, good. On those logs, keep an eye on, make sure that there's no malfunctions that are occurring. If you do have a malfunction, make sure you are going to paper and noting that malfunction. That is something that we see that does not get done, and that is a violation. That's something that is very easy to get around. So make sure you're checking that. What about your instruction sheet and malfunction sheet? Where are those located?
In the binder.
In the binder as well? Awesome. On the app as well, right. Dependent on the type of system you're running, some will be laminated, some will be in a booklet, some will be in the app of the device. So any of those are acceptable, just as long as you have that readily available. And there's one other thing that you're required to ensure that you have, and that is a spare amount of log sheets, in case that does malfunction. Those are the things that are gonna be asked for. Now, while I'm at the truck, I am gonna transfer your ELD to the E-Rod system. But I'm also gonna look through it, because if I have questions, just to be honest, I don't really wanna walk back 100+ feet each time I got a question. So I'm gonna stand up there and ask you. The biggest issue we're seeing right now is misuse of personal conveyance. So I'm gonna open up the floor for a few minutes for questions on personal conveyance.
You said big issue, misuse of it?
Misuse of it, absolutely.
And what is that?
Well, that could be anything from,
Yeah, extra 2 hours for the week.
well, there's some other things in there.
There's 15 miles, it's supposed to be within 15 miles.
No, there's no mileage on it.
No miles, no
No
time.
mileage, there's no time.
So as long as you're gonna do laundry, go grocery shopping, something like that.
So answer me this, easiest way that we push personal conveyance, what's the first word?
Personal.
So if you're furthering your load, or if you're going to get maintenance done on your truck, is that personal?
Yes.
No. You owner operator?
Negative.
Okay, then. I like Sean. I like Sean. So you were asking, sir, on the misuse, some of the things that we see on that are drivers running out of hours. And they're so close to home that they're like, man, I'm not stopping. I'm gonna go personal conveyance. That's a no-go, unfortunately. There are the reasons, there's 9 things it can be used for sure. The biggest thing is if you're held at a receiver or a shipper, you run out of hours. You are allowed to PC to the nearest safe location. That doesn't mean, man, I really like the loves at this exit. That means if it's 2 minutes back, it's 2 minutes back. If it's 30 minutes forward, it's 30 minutes forward. But it's the nearest safe location. I don't know if anybody heard in the news, we had 4 tractor trailers get into it on I-75 in Madison County. Had 3 of them that were on the shoulder of the roadway sleeping.
Oh.
One fatigued driver comes over and catches one, which then causes a chain reaction. Okay? So now that's created another uproar in the parking pandemic that we have. And yes, we have a pandemic
Yep.
when it comes to parking. I will say that, because there is no parking. Okay? Is that live? Is that live?
What?
Are you taping?
Oh, no, it's just for here. No, it's not live. No.
There's things I cannot say.
I would not do that to you, I promise.
There are, so when it comes to the parking, guys, we know that you don't have that, okay? If you're off the road in a safe location, we're gonna let you ride. Most of our guys, okay? We're not gonna mess with you. If you're to where you're out in the roadway, close to the roadway, we're gonna get you up. All right, if you're in somewhere that's impeding traffic, we're gonna get you up. All right, but if you're off to where you're not causing any harm, we're typically gonna leave you alone. I am afraid that this crash, however, is gonna change that.
What about parking, exit ramps and entrance ramps?
Same way, that's the most dangerous locations you can be.
That's what I
To
thought.
be honest, when you are exiting that ramp, what is the purpose of that off ramp?
To get off the road.
Gains the appropriate speed for that stop, right, for that slow down. If there's an issue that arises and that ramp is covered with trucks, where is your safety net? You don't have it, right? Same way with on-ramps. Your goal is to get up to that interstate speed to make a safe merge. If you run into an incident coming down that ramp and it's loaded, there's a problem. Going south, when you get south of Shepherdsville, at the rest area, the guys that are on the ramp coming out, we don't bother them. It's once you break that end point of that ramp, you'll see them parked all the way down to the overpass. Those are the ones that we're waking up and moving. Okay? If you run into that, you are allowed to use personal conveyance to make that move. Okay? You are allowed to use personal conveyance to make that move. Just be very cautious when using personal conveyance.
Day cabs, is that okay to go back to our location due to, running out of time because it took too long to load, or?
So if you're running a day cab, you're more than likely on a short haul, correct?
You're right.
Yeah, most normally.
Yeah. So there is no PC for short haul. Because if you're short haul, are you running a logbook?
Yes,
Yes.
So is that because you all are mandated?
we require it.
You require that. We do not. The motor carriers do not. All you are required is a time card. Now, you do have one 16-hour day
Yeah,
that you can utilize.
Yeah.
That would be that
so no
situation.
PC
Is
for
that
day
one a
cabs
week
at
or
all?
once a month?
As long as you haven't used it in the last 5 days, and don't play the game next to it.
Oh, you already-
You don't use it.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
16-hour rule, like local.
Logbook, that is a short haul only.
Because I'm
You
finding
do
a lot of
have
people
adverse
use it.
driving conditions
Yes.
that you can use.
And I'm finding that you are getting confused a lot.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Okay.
They do 100%. So the over-the-road people, you are allowed to utilize an adverse driving condition if you run up on an unforeseen issue. Right? Crash in the middle of the day, something to that nature, some kind of freak storm that comes up. Traffic in Nashville at 5 o'clock is not an unforeseen matter, okay?
What about getting stuck behind a train?
Stuck behind a train?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I'll probably allow you that one.
okay.
I'd probably allow you that, but I'm gonna ask you then, why are we running it so tight on time?
I sat waiting on the train in front of you for 6.5 hours.
They're crazy over there.
So now, I do know in Louisville, there are locations that these trains will park. I do know that. But let me ask you a question, do you know that? And I don't live or work around here. Yeah, so if you know it, what would be the better suit for you to do?
Go around, sometimes you go around.
Avoid that location, right? If you can. But yes, if those do occur, that would be an adverse driving condition. I would give you that all day long.
Right.
Here is the one thing I want to caution you on the adverse driving condition. It does not give you a 2-hour extension. It gives you the amount of time for you to make it to the nearest safe location. Okay? So if you are caught up in a crash and you have run out of hours and the next truck stop has parking, that is your nearest safe location. Sir,
What if you're in a day cab?
you shouldn't have been out of hours.
Oh, we don't have any PC.
Yeah, you missed that part too.
He just got it, he just got it.
He just got here.
Runaway.
So my question for you then, are there multiple times to where you're running out of hours in your day?
No, but every once in a while.
Okay, so you are
But I'm,
appointed.
I'm still not going over my 11, you know, because I'm held up here, held up there.
Right, your 14-hour day is what gets you, right?
Yeah,
So
something.
remember, you have the one 16-hour day that you're allowed to use in a 7-day period.
Okay,
As long as you haven't used it in the last 5 and don't plan to use it the next 2.
so, I mean, you can use that even if it isn't adverse weather? I thought the only time you could use the 16 was
If it's an
weather.
adverse condition, right, something that's holding you, not something just because, well, we decided to pick up an extra load here at the last part of the day and it's goofed us.
Yeah.
Nothing of that nature, right? Yes, yes. What else on personal conveyance? Nothing? All right. So with those logs, we are gonna go through those extensively, all right? We're gonna look at any unidentified driving time. We're gonna look at your power-ups. We're gonna look at your mileage jumps. We are checking those extensively. We have software that goes through those extensively. Something that is a small thing in the real world, but it's a ding on you still, truck and trailer numbers, shipping document numbers. I know if you're doing multiple drops, you can still continue to add numbers, okay? It's not just a one and done, or you can go in and delete that one out. That's fine as well. We're looking for, at the time of the stop, what have you got? Okay, so if you're one of these guys that are doing drop and hooks, change your trailers, change your load numbers. If you're those over the roads, again, when you pick up that trailer, make sure that number correlates to what you have and the load bill. Make sure that's in there or a description of what you're hauling. Okay, ensure that those are in there as well. Those are some of the things that we're seeing violations on, the form and manner type stuff, those extra log sheets, the instruction sheets, and mounting where it's located. We'll find a lot of guys, they'll have it stuck in the pocket, they'll have it laid in the seat, laid between the two seats thing. That's where their cell phones or tablets will be. I know I saw the brackets coming out in the mounts. Just make sure that those are in there visible to you.
What's the rule on the mounting system? Does that have to be on the dash or
Just where it's visible to you as the driver in the driver's seat.
so in your pocket it's not?
In your
visible?
pocket it's not
It's
visible.
out in front.
Has to be in front of you, right? And as far as dash wise, windshield wise, as long as it is below the topmost portion of the steering wheel, you're fine. And as long as it's above the AS1 line, you're fine there. Now, there are some exemptions for certain things, such as certain GPSs, the Bendix system for cameras and braking. Those systems do get relief from that, and there are a few others as well. Yes. What other questions you got right off? All right, so if you come through our scales, we have what is called the Kentucky Automated Truck Screening System. This system, and I know every one of you have seen this, when you come up, you'll see a pole with a bunch of cameras on it, right? One of them flashes at you even. That is what this is doing. So these are screening trucks as you come across. When you come across, it runs a multitude of things that comes across. It's got the DOT number. If you've got a KYU, your license plate, it's hitting that. It is even checking to whether or not your tires are flat or low tread depth. So this one here, this is an actual run across the London scales going northbound. When this truck come across, it's showing that he has a possible flat tire on the front drive passenger side outside tire. So the inspector would stop that truck. At my scale, they're automatically shuffled over. So if you get, even if you're empty, if you get shuffled over to the scale pad, this may be why. So you'll see a guy come out with a air gauge, check that tire. If it's good, he'll come around and say, be safe, have a good day. If not, he'll say, go ahead and park for me. All right, so that is one of the things that is checking. It's also checking for fuel tax. It's checking for any major safety violations through the safety system basic scores. It's checking all of those. As you come across, again, it takes a picture of the plate, the front of the truck, the DOT number, and the side of the vehicle. Now, do we have issues reading plates? Absolutely. So when that happens, if you'll notice, you got the stars. That means that that one come across and something read incorrectly. So someone manually went back in and rekeyed whatever the incorrect information was. Because unfortunately, where it does read wrong, if it was allowed to continue the way it is, it can be used for maybe a company that doesn't belong to. So we make sure that we have those correct. It also takes a picture of the entire truck. Look there.
And the driver.
What do you think we're looking for there?
They're looking for a smile.
I always smile.
Yeah, smile for us. Yeah, we always look to see what people are doing. It's pretty funny. Seat belts and cell phones. That's what we're looking for. That and to see who we got driving, because you would be shocked, I'm sure. We stop a driver and they come in and it's like, oh, wait a minute, you weren't the one driving. Oh yeah, man, I'm the only one in the truck. Guess what this does?
Oh.
Right? Yes, yes, and we have that in team situations. Somebody will say, oh, man, listen, I've been driving for a while. And they go out there and, because the other guy's out of hours or something's going on, or those type of situations. So yes, so this is one of the bigger things that we do utilize at all of our scale installations. This is across the state, and it's even on the entrance of the Bluegrass Parkway in Lexington. So if you're coming on from the Bluegrass, and we can remote access into these at any location. I have officers that are detailed in my areas to man these. So for instance, Simpson County, where the scale is there coming north on I-65, I may have an officer sitting at the 9-mile marker where the turnaround is. And he has this up running to make sure that people didn't get by. Because I only have 2 guys inside working that unfortunately get busy as well. So we are still looking for those. Another thing that we're